Thanks again for everyone for being here. Welcome. Um, Most of you must know by now, we just, again, released a cultural plan update called Denver Creates. It's a roadmap that is really tied to, and I'll get more into this, but it's really tied to the values, interests, needs, um, ideas, inspirations directly from the community. So it's led by you all, and this grant is really to help steward that thinking process, progress. So thanks for being here today. So jumping in, a little bit of background. This grant is going to fund up to $10,000 in direct investments to the community for programs and or projects that align with those goals outlined in Denver Creates, and also contribute to the cultural and artistic vibrancy of Denver. We'll probably mention over and over, please, if you haven't yet, go ahead and pick up, print out a copy or go online and check out the Denver Creates roadmap document. You can find that on our website at artsandvenuesdenver.com. The timeline for this grant, the applications are going to be closing July 7th. Gave you a little extra time on that July 4th weekend to go into Tuesday. Our panel review process will be through mid-August. And we gave ourselves a little bit of buffer there because we're just not sure what the turnout will be for applications. We plan to notify you all in late August. And of course, you can reach us at any time if you have questions during this part of the process. And then anticipated grant award distribution would be late September 2025. And then implementation, we're saying, programs can take place between late September through December 2026. So that's the next year. With the little asterisk that you can apply for funding for a program that is ongoing or existing or set to begin before that distribution date. We just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that you'll be financially responsible for any program-related expenses that occur before that. And we just always want to be mindful on our timing of getting funding out. I should note here that we also work with Redline to help administer our checks out to make that process a little more streamlined and accessible. The fund this year, I've talked to some of you. There's an official total. So our fund for this year will be $500,000. And again, grants will be up to 10. So think about, how you might utilize that timeline wisely when you could apply. And it could be for something later this year or something that you're looking into the future of for 2026. Eligibility. Any programs or projects should be taking place in the city and county of Denver. You can be outside of Denver. You could partner with someone in Denver just as long as those programs are happening in the city and county of Denver. Eligible applicants can apply for existing or new programs. We always like to see an extension of something too. So if it's something that you've been doing a long time, like a festival, for instance, and you want to include some ADA or accessibility opportunities and bringing people in, that's the kind of thing that can be really interesting. So beyond your typical program, maybe. The following are the eligible folks to apply. It should just say everyone, but this includes cultural organizations, non- and for-profit businesses. It can be educational spaces, ad hoc neighborhood or community-based organizations, and of course, individual artists, but any individual can apply. Just to touch on expenses. So when you're thinking about the budget you're going to put together, it's really important to know what we can cover. And again, the full guidelines are on our website on that link I first shared. Definitely go into all those more deeply. This is more high level, but that can show you some other details around this. But we definitely expect that planning and personnel be a part of your budget. If it's not, please make it so. We definitely want to know that there's a project manager or coordinator or director, that they're getting paid fair wages according to, their needs. It could be for administrative support, contractors, a volunteer coordinator, community organizer, liaison, that kind of thing. And then professional services. This is more regarding, consultants or additional outside people or an artist or many marketing needs, branding, printing, whatever that could be, insurance if you need that, if you're doing some kind of event that needs that, or a permit. And be thinking about those and those prices or costs. And we can always work with you if you need to work with another city agency, come to us. We can help be a liaison to special events office or permitting or other things like that. Program supplies also definitely. So if you're printing documents or need to do flyers or something, equipment, tents, audiovisual, that sort of thing can be included. If you're renting a space, certainly we understand that. And as balanced as you can be on your budget, thoughtfully, I think the better. So this is just examples, but I think it kind of shows a good outline of what we're thinking about. Food can be involved here as well. If you're doing some kind of ribbon cutting or something like that, just be mindful of how much gets spent there. And we do not cover alcohol. But again, go to the website. That'll share more on eligible and ineligible expenses. Our guidelines and values, I wanted to sprinkle these in here because they're really sort of some of our guiding posts and what we want to be thinking about, and we want the community to continue to think about when they apply. This is the important pieces, but also just what really ties us together as a cultural community. So demonstrating some sense of cultural diversity, social equity, inclusion, accessibility, through your program or project where you can. Sonia, if you have any, if you see anyone, thank you. Foster community collaboration and encourage partnerships. We love partnerships. We love wild partnerships. So, having maybe a healthcare provider collaborate with you, or youth education, or, some of that cross collaboration, cross sector collaboration is really fun. Think about nurturing and honoring community heritage and identity, depending on where your program or project is. And then always, we love to see our local talent in any form being showcased or brought into a program or project through this. Okay, so a little bit of background again on Denver Creates. That whole roadmap is on our website. Dig in, enjoy it, highlight things, whatever you can do to kind of align yourself there. While there are some pretty broad visioning, it gets into some really good detail on actual action items that came out of the community on how to problem solve or come up with other kinds of inspired solutions on things that may be more successful or challenging right now. And again, this was engagement into the community. I think we did over 2,500 interviews and surveys, and really wanted to reflect back what we were hearing. So we invite you to read through it and kind of connect with it best you can.
Lisa, I put a link to the Denver Creates website in the chat, which has the full roadmap.
Perfect. Thank you, Sonia. The roadmap centered on equity, access, and collaboration, and it's advancing 3 shared commitments to build a more inclusive and vibrant cultural landscape. These are the 3 areas we're really focusing on that are tied directly to that roadmap. So broaden access to arts and culture, cultivate the cultural community, and support the economic vitality of Denver's cultural sector. So while, again, these are pretty broad, going into the plan, there's some deeper dives. I'm doing some high level today. So this collective commitment, number 1, broaden access to arts and culture. Some of the areas are these, right? So advancing equity and access in arts and culture funding. So how might we think about leveraging the dollar to support more access for somebody to engage with the arts better? Reduce barriers to audience engagement. Again, this is like all about access, and access is a really broad word. So what that could mean is a spectrum, right? So thinking about those things, support arts and culture in neighborhoods. I know our mayor is really dedicated to getting more art and cultural opportunities, small and large, into every nook and cranny in every council district, best we can. So that's commitment 1. Commitment 2, this is really around cultivating the cultural community. So amplifying Denver as a cultural, city, and showing our success and reputation, going big. We're nationally should be known for all the work you all are doing. How do we amplify that? Build cross-sector collaborations. So again, thinking about how to sprinkle arts and culture into totally different sectors, and build new partnerships. Integrate artists into community decision making. That is broad. That could be really interesting. Building arts leadership and education. So this could also be about workforce leadership pipeline, keeping people here, keeping artists here, keeping creatives here, and really digging in more to education opportunities. Commitment number 3, supporting the economic vitality of Denver's cultural sector. These are big ones. These are important. Space was such an important part, as we all know and feel. So increasing access and affordability of art spaces. So if there's new innovative ideas to think on how we might collaborate together on, or investigate or do discovery around this work. Some things don't have to be a physical, tangible to be part of this grant application, right? So this could be gathering people together with like-minded interests and considering ways to tackle some of these bigger issues or needs. Expand arts and cultural funding. Again, we've seen that a lot. And then retaining local talent and resources. We have a great way that we do selection reviews. So we gather our Denver Commission on Cultural Affairs. We have a few folks that are going to be on that panel, as well as past grantees that can help shed some light, and they will be the ones doing the review process. We help steward that. We don't do any scoring, but we do shepherd that process to help them through that. So the criteria, the 3 that we're focused on for when they review, is that number 1, that it's tied, your program or project's tied to the commitments in that Denver Creates roadmap. Number 2, that your program's impact and relevance makes sense, right? So that you're clearly describing the benefit and the impact on the community. One of the things I want to point out though is like this group that's reviewing you may have never heard of you, even if you've been around for 30 years or 10 or 2. definitely share out about why your organization is impactful, even if it's in a sentence or two up front. I think it's so important beyond just mission. Reminding the reviewer, we've been around for 2 years or 20, but the impact that we've had on the community has done this, this, and this, or this is why this is meaningful to us. We feel like a leader in this space. I think leaning into yourself and reminding yourselves to show off a little bit, I think is really important to kind of help paint the picture on who you are. And then feasibility and planning. We want programs that are well-defined, clear goals, budget, and the leadership behind it, so that we can see clearly that in reading what you bring, this feels really feasible. This makes sense. And then let's see. Here's a little application checklist for you. This is also on our website, to be getting you thinking about your program description, locations. Sometimes there's multiple locations, your timeline, hopes and dreams, and any goals. Sometimes these can be moving targets. And so if there's an adjustment needed, if you are granted funding, we understand pretty deeply that things can change or shift, and we're here to help you with those things. So there's no hard and fast rules on the what you set out for yourself may change, right? So just keep in touch with us and let us know what you need there. Again, thinking about community impact, how your program or project is different or really connects with the community and is a need in that community. Details on who's leading, and making that really clear. We love to see a list of active or potential partners in brief, just name, role, contact information. You don't need to get into details, you can, but this helps us kind of understand the scope of what you're thinking, and your hopes for that. Program budget. You could include any incoming funds, so or in-kind contributions. Make sure in your budget that you highlight where the grant funding can go, because sometimes a budget can be much bigger than the grant that you're given. But it's nice to see those highlighted areas. Like, it's going to go to artists, and it's going to go to the director, and it's going to go to design. But if you can think about that, it's really great for a viewer to see that. And then, of course, we have an option to upload additional support or materials that can support your program, just to give more examples to the reviewer. Images, audio, video, links. It can be a PDF full of links. Or you can, I think there's 3 total uploading options for you. And I think that's also really wise and helpful for the reviewer to better wrap their head around the context. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for kind of walking through this with us. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording part and the sharing part. But right now, I just want to leave this up for a second. You can find us at artsandvenuesdenver.com. That is my email there. And then you can also reach us at denvercreates@denvergov.org. There should be a G there. And you can find us at that other email for any other questions, or if you're interested in getting involved more or want to see what's coming next. We're looking at doing some summits, some community conversations, some speaker series work, to keep this momentum going, to keep engaging and keep convening around some of the different topics in that roadmap. So we want to keep in touch. Feel free to reach us at any time, and we can make sure you're moving right along with us.